on, I'm pinned. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. We on? Yeah.
We are.
All right. Welcome to another OSBA matchup, the third of the day, between the TRC Academy and Lincoln Prep. TRC, the #1 team in the OSBA, coming in 11-0 against Lincoln Prep, who are in 7th, 4-7. I'm Chris McKee, joined by Ryan Greco. Great day of basketball so far.
Oh, amazing. I mean, what a finish that was between TRC Academy and Lincoln Prep. The ladies' home team, TRC Academy, getting it done. A come-from-behind victory, Chris.
You know, that's my first time seeing OSBA women play, and I was absolutely blown away at the level of talent. Like I said, you know, I did Durham College, the women and the men, for 2 years, but, you know, seeing OCAA women's basketball for 2 years, and both of those teams would blow any of those OCAA teams out of the water. The talent level is just that much different. I was really impressed.
Yeah, that's very impressive, and you know that's big words coming from you, considering the fact that you've had a chance to really watch that league. So, you know, it just says a lot about the level of talent here in the OSBA to build on what you're saying. But we got another game here right now as the tip-off begins. Chris, take it away, man.
All right, so on the floor for TRC is Adong McCoy, number 10. He'll be the focal point for TRC today, and that's Antoine Vernon with the 3. Quick start for Vernon. He's the point guard. He'll direct all traffic. Matt Grace is out there, Dion Edgem, and who am I missing?
Steve Levniak.
Steve, number 15, Levniak there.
Levniak, once again, another guy. I've said it till I've been blue in the face in some of these broadcasts. It's just the development of him, starting off as a pure shooter and now really working his way around. You're seeing that, you know, you're starting to almost see some point guard tendencies out of Levniak, finding Vernon there for that open look.
So on the floor for Lincoln Prep, number 1, Blake Anderson, number 5, Lincoln Rosebrook, Matt Grace in and out. Edgem can't get the rebound. Number 7 is Josh Noten. He'll direct all traffic for Lincoln Prep. Number 6 is Tafari Sims, and number 8 is Tyler Sagal. That's who's on the floor right now. 9:10 to go. TRC, 3-0 lead.
And a fun fact here, Chris, the first ever OSBA Game of the Week I ever broadcasted was actually between Lincoln Prep and TRC Academy, and that one went right down to the final seconds. So we'll see if we get a similar matchup here.
So McCoy getting called with a travel. He doesn't look like he's protesting it too much, so.
No, he's a very, very level-headed player. Intelligent, very thoughtful.
So obviously, you know, I had the chance to speak with him for a few minutes for the game. He's one of my favorite players in the OSBA. Excuse me, we're talking OCAA. For 3, nothing but nets. It's Blake Anderson.
Anderson, a great shooter that you can see. A sweet stroke there, showing off the form.
Vernon looking for space. Grace. Levniak. Grace wide open look. Take it. Matt Grace with the 3.
And Matt Grace, I think, is arguably the best shooter in the OSBA that's standing at over 6'9". Just, you know, what very long, very lean, just very smooth release as well, much like Blake Anderson.
He's got a real high ceiling, Grace. He looks like one of those guys that could play for, like, you know, Princeton or Bucknell or Penn University. He's just got, that's the look.
Yep, a high IQ player. You know, he's not the most athletic guy on the floor when he's playing on defense, but he just knows how to be in the right spots at the right time.
And Edgem gets called with a travel, which, I don't know, a little suspect on that call. So this is a great atmosphere up here at the Rise Center in Brantford. I mean, the women's, my ears were hurting from the noise in there, and hopefully that atmosphere continues here for the men's game, the final matchup of the night.
Oh, nice finish there by Noten. Just over top Edgem.
Noten glides in untouched, nobody there.
That's one of his characteristics there, Chris. He's coming into this league, he was very much a score-first point guard. Really worked on his playmaking abilities the last couple of years, but right there you still see the flashes of brilliance on offense where he can do it himself sometimes if he really needs to.
Vernon missed for the 3. As Noten back down again. Rainbow jump shot, man, Tyler Sagal.
That's a pretty shot. That is not a shot you're going to see hit very often at this level, but my goodness, what a beauty that was.
Levniak loses a handle on it. Noten races down the floor. Sagal thought about it, drives, Off the glass, not there. Rebound, Grace. Levniak, careless with the ball. 2 possessions in a row. He's had it stripped.
And you see the Lincoln Prep from the very get-go here. No, they're in for a battle. They're a little bit outmatched in size here, so they know they got to rush for everything they can. Take the advantages where they get them. As both players, as that time I think it was Anderson and Noten that were diving to the floor there for the ball.
Avon Nava checks in for the first time for Rise. And that was all ball. As Lincoln Rosebush called with the foul, but all ball on that.
Yeah, I thought it was some really good defense there by Rosebush, but it just seemed like as Grace was going up, all credit to Grace, getting his defender out of the angle that he needed him at, give him a little shove in the shoulder, and when Rosebush was coming back down and Grace was coming up, he was able to catch him on the, kind of got him on an angle there that the referee saw, and the contact results in a foul.
Grace, 6'9", class of 2018. Hits them both.
Yeah, real talent. You're going to be seeing him somewhere in the South. Very talented player.
Noten, guarded by Vernon. Drives to the basket, off the glass. Can't get the roll. He'll go to the line and shoot 2.
And I like that matchup though for Noten. I mean, he once again, we've talked before. We've had plenty of times seeing both this Lincoln Prep team over the last 2 years, and going back to what we were talking about before is his evolution as a pass first point guard as he's at the line right now. But I'll tell you something about this Mississauga native here, Chris. When he has an opportunity to go up and he's got a size advantage and a length advantage on Vernon. Now, don't get it twisted. Vernon is no slouch on defense. Very quick feet, very well built, knows how to stay in front of his guy. But Noten, when he sees he's got a length advantage, he uses that length to every little bit, as you can see when he's attacking and driving to the rim. And so that is going to be a very interesting matchup to see moving forward.
Nava from the corner, too strong. Levniak, and Nava comes up with it, and he's fouled. Looks like by Tafari Sims.
You want to talk about another guy here. Let's talk about Nava, another guy who in that playoff run last year was a big reason why TRC Academy made it to the finals. Some very clutch shots in the win over AI Prep in the semifinals. Some very clutch shots in the OSBA championships to keep TRC Academy right to the end, keeping them in it right to the end. And really, it was incredible to see how he just kind of skyrocketed with his abilities come playoff time, because through most of the season he was a relative unknown on this team, not getting a lot of minutes in OSBA action, and you see him now as probably the go-to guy off the bench now for this TRC Academy team here in the 2018 season.
Coach calls him the best shooter in the country, but I think Sam Routens might have something to say about that.
It's debatable, but he's definitely in the conversation. He's got a clutch factor about him.
9-all, 6:06 to go in the first quarter. McCoy loses a handle on it. Noten resets to Sims. Noten calling the play. Anderson for 3. Whew. Nothing but net.
That was
Blake
pretty.
Anderson.
Anderson's feeling it early. Make him 2 for 2 from the line as there's a press.
As Levniak's hammered.
There's the big boy out of Thunder Bay.
Sammy Jahan. Is it? No, what's...
Austin Burchat.
Where's the... Yeah, we got the wrong number on him. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
I got him at 15. Sims off the top of the backboard. Why isn't that a dead ball?
Looks like it may not have touched the shot clock, so the referees say play on. Yeah, what a body that was. Levniak, I know he's going to be thinking about it again next time he attacks the rim.
Grace had the look. One more pass to Vernon. Short. McCoy, and they're battling for it. And it's going to be Lincoln Prep ball.
So many fun matchups to see here in this game. I mean, whether it's Burchat and McCoy going at it for rebounds, or you've got Noten and Vernon going at each other as Noten now comes out. And coming into the game now is going to be number 4, Josh Primo. Younger guard out of Mississauga, class of 2021. A lot of interesting matchups here. And then you got the 2 shooters going at it, Nava and Anderson.
Anderson looking for somebody. Everybody covered. Wasting it. Dishes
nice
inside. Levniak
Close.
read that, sniffed it out.
Great defense.
And a nice finish from Steve Levniak.
Yeah, that was just a great heads-up play by Levniak there. It was a beautiful pass to Burchat, but of no fault of his own. That's why you got to make sure you're sealing out the guy as you're receiving that pass.
Anderson, Nava smothering him defensively. Sagal, he drives, and McCoy swats that one away.
That was a big block by the big man.
Nava for 3. There it is. Avon Nava.
And Nava letting him know about it. As him and Anderson keep going tick for tack. And so far we get a timeout here by Lincoln Prep, and the home team is up 14-12, TRC Academy. Chris, we got ourselves a game to kick this one off.
We got a game. Lincoln Prep came to play today. You know, we were a little hesitant thinking, you know, this looks on paper, you know, that TRC is going to come in and run away with it. But Lincoln Prep, you know, they've come to play today.
They absolutely have. And one thing you really have to remember with this Lincoln Prep team is that, you know, they have the size to match up with just about anybody in the league. That's one thing you got to remember. The second thing as well is that they got shooters. They have shooters. They have length in the post. They have the ability to keep themselves. And as we've seen them keep themselves in a number of games against some of the top shelf competition in the OSBA this year. And really, just automatically assume, I guess maybe on our part, that TRC Academy is going to walk in here and just have an easy go at it. Is right now Lincoln Prep making us look foolish at that so far.
10-12 last year on the season. They lost 4 players. 3 of them to U Sports, 1 to another prep school in the U.S. So still a good portion of their roster intact, which is, you know, when you look at the top end of the OSBA, it is teams that have a little bit more stability on their roster, as opposed to guys dumping 9-10 players at a time.
Tough miss there.
Vernon directing traffic. He's got Nava to Grace. You know, one of the things about Nava, though, he doesn't look like he wants to take it to the hoop. He's always looking to shoot from the corner. Is that Levniak? It is.
It is.
Misses on that attempt. Lincoln Prep in transition. So on the floor for the first time. Primo, as you mentioned. Sagal inside.
I don't mind that shot at all. Burkett, he got an opportunity there. He got a clean look at the rim. They should probably try and look back at him again, maybe get the big man going a little bit.
Vernon misses on that lane, had a clear lane, couldn't finish.
There you go again.
Anderson has that swatted away, and now they're talking junk to each other.
Nava's excited. We got a lot of substitutions now happening, though.
Well, mass substitutions. 3:13 to go. On the floor, we're seeing Tyson Cato, number 2. He'll inbound.
Here's Noten.
Well, and there's Primo. So we got a number. He looks like number 11, Igor Milkovic.
I think so.
I don't see an 11 on the bench. That's who we're going with.
He's Milkovic now.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right. No, you're right. Well, Noten almost got caught with a travel there.
Primo again. He can't miss right now. Josh Primo.
Excellent shot there, in rhythm. You always say as a coach, you got to get it in rhythm. There's Nava trying to respond. There's going to be a foul, though.
So the young guy, Primo, you know, I mean, they're all high school kids, but Primo, he looks young.
Well, class of 2021, so he is, in fact.
He's a youth man. Yeah.
Yes, Chris. Yes. There's Noten. He's guarded by, who's that, number 9, Darius Deavero.
In the corner.
Oh, wow, that's clean.
There it is, Lincoln Rosebush.
Rosebush, that's so clean, just very calm, very smooth stroke. Like I said, this Lincoln Prep team can shoot it, and when they're on, they're tough for anyone to beat.
Shooting the lights out right now. Liam Courtney seeing his first action. Number 24 is a Colgate commit.
Oh, nice spin move there.
Lovely spin move, Ben Shoveler.
You gotta love it if you're a coaching staff. You see you bringing in your guys off the bench, and they're producing right now. Very, very impressive look so far.
When guys on your bench have already committed to play, NCAA basketball, that's pretty crazy.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. So there's Milkovich, misses. And that's a foul. Who's that, Noten being called with a foul? It is?
Yeah.
Push in the back.
And that's not a shot you necessarily want to see if you're Coach Kendall Knight here. You're catching the ball. You're already off balance. You're trying to lean away. And the truth of the matter, though, is that there's nobody there. You don't even have to lean away. If that's going to be the situation, kill your momentum. Take a step back. Start dribbling. Maybe attack the basket, or at least just get yourself set. Don't force yourself on an off-balance shot like that on the baseline.
There's a long 3 attempt. Darius DeVero. He's in for the first time today. As well as number 13, Lorenzo Downey. Inside, Courtney's got to realize he had nobody behind him. Catch that ball, turn around, and shoot it. Don't put it on the floor and try to shake off a ghost.
And Sims had the opportunity there to make the recovery on the rotation and get the block as a result.
Primo again, every time he gets. Keeps shooting. Rebound, Downey.
Excellent closeout by Francolini there on that one.
DeVero.
Good D.
Clean block.
Yep. Very good D.
So I'm really liking what I see out of Primo right now. Young guy, 2021, but playing with real confidence. Like he doesn't seem phased by playing against TRC.
No,
Rosebush.
Big rebound there by Sims. You see Primo. He's a guy, though, gets a lot of minutes for this team, though. So it's not really that shocking that he's playing with the kind of calm, collected demeanor that we're seeing so far. A number of OSBA games, he's logged some major minutes for this squad coming off the bench, even starting occasionally here and there in some of these games. But as you're seeing, Chris, he's got the chutzpah.
Yeah.
He's very, very talented at knocking down those shots. Look at that. There's a shot by Noten trying to get it at the last second, but that's going to do it for the first quarter, and the guests are up by 4, Chris.
20-16. Lincoln Prep with the lead over TRC. So surprising. So remember, if you are out there in Twitter world watching the game, drop us a line on Twitter. My Twitter is at Mr. McKee. That's MRMCKEE. And Ryan's is Ryan Greco 416.
That's right.
Let us know you're out there listening. We're coming in loud and clear, or you got any shout-outs? Say what's up.
Absolutely. You can see the Rise Prep players who played earlier, almost 2-3 hours ago now at this point. They're still here, banging drums, making noise, cheering on their TRC brethren. And, really creating that atmosphere that's so tough to play in a place like this. I mean, it just says a lot about this organization.
It's a busy arena.
It is.
Full house tonight. Great atmosphere.
I would
imagine some of the women will be out now watching the game in a few minutes once they get cleaned up.
Working the scores table, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen the one girls mopping up the sweat there. They put them, as soon as the game's over, you get to work.
They're putting them to work, definitely. That's a real sign of family, though, when you've got, everybody in here kind of pulling their own weight, doing what they have to do.
That's what I loved. I love seeing, Ramir Moore and a couple of the other guys out there. I mean, they're running up and down the sideline cheering as if it's their own teammates. Yeah. It was a great, the one thing every time I talk to NCAA head coaches, they always talk about creating a culture, the right culture, and this great culture down here at TRC.
Absolutely.
Lost a handle on it. It's Tyson Cato. Turnover, not how you want to start the second quarter.
Now, that's just the worst as a head coach. When you're sitting there, you've drawn up a play, you have a plan going into it, and literally the first pass out of bounds. Well, that was a great idea, boys. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Edgem for 3, Dion Edgem.
And Dion Edgem really making a point of working on that outside shot going into this year. He knows this is his last year. He's got to be one of those guys that shows he can step out occasionally and knock those down.
It was a long 2 attempt miss. Rebound, Adam Franchioli.
Oh, nice find.
Francolini, excuse me. Seeing his first action. And Naughton sprinting down the floor. Woo. Lovely finish, Josh Noten.
Josh Noten feeling himself a little bit, but he's got every right to. A beautiful Euro step, beautiful finish with the left hand. Mr. Josh Noten, everybody.
Nice player. He's fast. He's not as fast as Daniel Saki, but he's pretty damn quick.
You can see he's getting up in hype. He knows how big of a game this is for his organization. Opportunity to, close the gap a little bit in these standings.
You talk about that Saki kid. I had the pleasure of being at the NCAA tournament. I was there for round 1 and 2 in Buffalo. And even he is the fastest player I've ever seen play up close. And that includes, I watched Villanova, I watched Wisconsin, I watched West Virginia. No one plays with the speed of that kid. He's unbelievable. Long three from Sagal, short. Edgem with the rebounds.
There's Sagal, a tough miss there, trying to hold on to this lead here. Oh, nice block there by Burkett.
Burkett and Courtney with the putback. Good hustle play from Liam Courtney.
Yeah, Liam Courtney earned that bucket, all 7 feet of him. Very fascinating matchup we're watching there. Like I said, both of these teams match up extremely well with each other, Chris. So it's shouldn't be that shocking that this game is so close to start off here.
Sagal. Airballs on that jump shot. Rolls off Sims. He's complaining he was pushed, but it clearly hit him and rolled out of bounds. You got to pick your battles, Tafari.
You can see, though, he's got a very physical job down there.
Downey for 3. Lorenzo Downey.
That was a clean shot there. Very, very nice. You
24-22.
Rise Prep players like what they saw there. They're jumping up and down.
That's their first lead of the game since it was 3-0.
Anderson
with the response.
All over top of Adam Francolini. There was about a 4-inch difference in height there. Just knocks it over him, though. That's confidence, Chris.
Lincoln Prep, they came out. They're throwing the punches. How do you beat a bully? You punch him in the mouth, right?
Yep.
DeVero looking for space, Edgem for 3. Nowhere near. And then, that's Downey, excuse me. Great
nice
vision.
Find.
Dion Edgem with the finish.
There's Edgem getting the hands there. Just a little shimmy, takes a look, thinks about it, brings it out. Excellent find with the right hand to curl it around the defender. That's the number one thing you got to remember about that pass.
Oh, and Downey hammers Noten.
And Josh Noten. This is, I don't know. I don't know what he had for breakfast this morning, but this is the best I've seen him play, period. I don't think I've ever seen him on a stretch like this before, where it's just everything's falling. He just can't make a mistake right now.
We're seeing number 14, Mackenzie Hart, for the first time. So Lincoln Prep going deep into their rotation. Trying to keep everybody fresh. Noten can't convert.
That's going to be necessary against a physical team like TRC Academy, who has a deep bench their own.
Wishful thinking from Francolini. And now McCoy battling underneath the basket. He'll go to the line and shoot 2.
There you go. You see Dong McCoy surrounded by purple jerseys. Did not matter. Still managed to come down with it. And, if you're the coach there, if you're Coach Knight, when you see that layup, you see that desperation layup by Francolini, you have to be excited to see that, okay, they're making sure they're not getting any clean looks off. But then that's why a guy like a Dong McCoy is so important. Because even when it looks like the play is broken, even when it looks like it's a possible turnover, he has that extra gear of hustle, goes up and gets it around 4 different purple shirts, and then not only that, manages to get a clean look off before getting fouled. Very impressive display there by the young man out of Edmonton.
McCoy hits both his free throws, 28-27, 6:40 to go in the half. TRC out in front. Noten looking for some help. Takes it back, shot clock's at 8. Anderson to Sagal, they're messing around with Sagal with a long 3. Nothing but nets.
That was a clean shot. I like that. Honestly, I've got no problem with that shot whatsoever. Takes a dribble, gets himself nice and set, ready to go, has enough distance in between, and he nearly causes the turnover there on Edgem, but just a very, very clean look. And, McKee, Chris, we see this all throughout the warm-ups. These guys can hit it from just about anywhere inside the half-court line. I mean, it's just the way basketball is now. So, once again, I got no problem with that shot whatsoever.
Lincoln Prep shooting the lights out. Edgem. DeVero. Young man out of Ottawa to Matt Grace. McCoy down there, and he's pushed in the back.
You could see Grace there, Chris, as he received that shot on the left-hand side, you could see him kind of leaning a little bit, and that's something he has to make sure. He does this from time to time where he'll get caught into the lean and kind of crouch himself a little bit off that shot, and because of where his release point is, that's exactly where you're going to miss. You're going to miss left or right if he leans on that. He's going to have to try and make a mental note of that, make sure he's staying straight to the basket when he's letting it go.
You remember that song, Shoulder Lean by Young Dro? And there, Grace misses again. Rebound, Rosebush.
That one you can definitely see, though, not nearly as, no lean. That one just barely rims out. A much closer miss. Oh, nice look. Look at that.
Sagal stays airborne with a kiss off the glass. Wanted the foul as well.
Excellent work catching Francolini with his hands high and flat-footed, blows right by him, takes the contact. Excellent body control with the finish.
DeVero for three. And there's the response from Darius DeVero.
Sometimes that's another one of those sky shots where he's leaning back, throws it up, and you could just tell by the release, it's like, no way. Oh, man, what a shot.
32-31, Lincoln Prep out in front. And that one was a long three, but now Matt Grace is going to be called with a foul underneath the basket as he's battling with Mackenzie Hart.
Good call by the referee there. You can see Grace. Once again, it's not the initial contact. It's always the retaliation. As you see Grace there, he got caught with the open hand kind of shove in the chest there, which ended up resulting in the foul. But also, let's talk about Anderson for a second there. That was definitely a heat check. That was the heat check shot right there for him.
Why not? Yeah. So the original starting lineup back on the floor now for TRC. As Vernon and Levniak re-enter the game. Vernon now guarding Noten.
Oh, nice.
Anderson misses. Anderson's cooled off a bit here in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Vernon to Grace.
Oh, nice.
I'd like to see Vernon take that shot. A nice 10-foot baseline shot. Couldn't pull the trigger.
Ooh.
Edgem does.
That's some beautiful basketball there, Chris. Just everyone moving with their head up, everyone looking for the extra pass, the extra open man, find it at the last minute. Excellent finish under the rim by Edgem, but just a great ball movement overall by TRC.
And Noten, it looks like Edgem's going to be called with a foul. And we're going to have a timeout on the floor. No, who are they calling a four on Grace? Yeah. Grace picked up a couple quick ones.
And there is going to be a timeout here for TRC Academy. Very clean game of basketball so far. I've been impressed by both teams.
I'm enjoying it so far. TRC out 33-32, 4:16 to go in the half. I mean, Lincoln Prep shooting. They've cooled off a little bit here in the last 2 or 3 minutes. But that first quarter, I think they might have only missed one shot. They're just hitting everything.
And, you know, one thing you like to see, though, even when they're not making those shots, the second effort, the constant getting back on defense, closing out on shots. Once again, you know, we just gave some compliments there to the offensive efficiency of TRC in that last possession. But really, you know, you got to also remember that Lincoln Prep, this is a team that does a very good job of making sure they're getting in the passing lanes. Their guards are long. There really aren't any kind of smaller players on this team per se. Even guys like Josh Primo, very lanky, can reach into the passing lanes and intercept those and kind of disrupt that ball movement. And, you know, with the exception of that last possession, they've done a very good job of that so far. And they've been kind of more or less forcing TRC Academy to either settle for the outside three-pointer or getting fouled at the line. Basically, what I'm trying to say is they're not giving up any easy baskets.
You know, one of the beauties of the OSBA is, you know, every game we have the pleasure of calling, there's always one new guy that you see that you get really excited. Josh Primo is like, I've been loving his game. Here, what I'm seeing in the first half from this young guy. Quick trigger, plays with a lot of confidence. Like you said, real long and athletic.
And he's another Mississauga kid.
Noten to Rosebush. And there's Primo again. Misses that one. Edgem with the rebound. Brings the ball up the floor for TRC. Vernon used his body very nicely, finished that basket.
Yeah, Primo can't allow him to get that kind of separation when he's going in. Make sure he kept a hand up, some pretty good defense, but once Vernon gets that body contact and gets that space, that's usually always a bucket for him.
Noten with the floater, gets the roll. Nice basket, Josh Noten.
Josh Noten, he's having a day right now. He's a big reason why this is a 1-point game.
He looks up for it today as Vernon slashes toward the basket, has that block that was all ball by Mackenzie Hart. Lincoln Prep, Coach Knight, I think on my side on that argument.
Yeah, I guess the only way you can see that, just to play devil's advocate, is you see the separation there as Hart, even though he got the block with the left hand, looks like maybe he got a little bit too much of a shove on with the right hand with the forearm into the chest of Vernon.
So both the two previous games here today got really chippy. That first game we did between the Rise and Ridley was one of the chippier basketball games I've ever seen. And then even the women's game, there was a little pushing and shoving going on there, pretty intense rivalry. So this has been calm and peaceful for the most part so far.
Well, it's just one of those things, right? Like, you got two very proud basketball cities going at each other right now between Hamilton and Brantford.
Noten with an 18-foot jump shot misses.
These guys are trying to fight for respect.
Vernon.
Woo! Nice find.
Outside,
Travel.
Grace is going to get called with a double dribble.
Yeah.
Kind of agree with the refs on that one.
Yeah, as he was trying to gain control of it, then he kind of came over and dribbled again. And sometimes you can get away with that, Chris. It's like I've seen that a couple of times where guys are kind of they're letting it drop, and then they don't have full control over it, and then they pick it up. But that one there, it just looked like Grace had full control of the ball when he bounced it before making the second dribble for the shot.
Sagal, quick trigger. Tyler Sagal. He can't miss this evening, anyways.
They're going to need to not miss when they got guys like McCoy on the other end and throws it down.
Adong McCoy. Now he finally makes himself known.
You're due for one of those every game, one of those just big throwdowns. If he gets the space, get out of the way.
He got them off their butts here in the seats at TRC Academy. Sims.
Oh, nice D there. Active hands, Vernon. He knows he's in tough right now. Noten giving him everything that he can handle, but Vernon up to the task there, deflecting the pass.
That's a good timeout by Lincoln Prep. You know, that dunk by McCoy got the crowd back into it.
Yep.
All the momentum, and then that's one of those moments where momentum could shift back to TRC, and he sensed it and smelt it and put a stop to it right away.
Excellent decision there. But moving forward, and once again, they got nothing to worry about or nothing to be too upset about right now. 2-point game on the road against the best team in the league. And that's one thing about this Lincoln Prep team. They will go up against anybody. They will go toe-to-toe. A lot of talent on the floor right now, Chris.
Yeah, it's a good afternoon, good evening of basketball. Excuse me. I've been here since 3 o'clock, so I'm still stuck in daylight. So forgive me. Yeah. But if you told the Lincoln Prep coaching staff, hey, if you can get to half down 2, would you take it? And I think they definitely would, especially on the road here.
Absolutely. And that's that factor people forget about. It's a considerable. Now this isn't the worst bus ride for these guys. I mean, this is really more just like 10-15 minutes down the road from Hamilton. But you get some of these games where, like for example, Ridley College coming in from St. Catharines just earlier in the day, or if you're coming in from like an Orangeville or you're going to an Orangeville, it's a long ride when you're coming in off the bus. So you got to make sure you have that hot start. It's all the more important.
Primo guarded by Idjum. Noten. Shot clock at 1 off the glass. It didn't touch the rim.
The refs are going to say play on.
All right. Vernon.
Right, let's do it.
He's been attacking the basket the last few possessions. Now McCoy, left-handed skyhook. Lovely finish. Adong McCoy.
Well done there by McCoy. Got this, and he's just so long. I mean, Rosebush, no small guy at all, standing at about 6'10". And here's going to be a matchup I'm going to love watching for the rest of the day. It's going to be Tafari Sims versus Adong McCoy. As both players incredibly gifted at the scoring touch inside the post. A little bit of throwback basketball here we're about to watch, possibly.
Vernon kicks out to Grace. Levniak. Lovely dish inside to Grace. Matt can't finish it, but he gets his own rebound to Vernon. In the corner.
Great
was that
closeout.
Navon.
That was Noten with the closeout.
And McCoy, with his right hand, is fouled. He'll go to line and shoot 2.
Anytime you can do ambidextrous at the rim, finishing with those hooks, that is just so hard to guard. I don't care how big and tall and strong and lanky you are. If a guy can go both ways on you like that, you're going to be in for a long night.
Two-handed player.
One thing I would have liked to have seen, though, off that pick and roll at the very beginning of this set was for him to accelerate to the basket a little bit quicker. It almost kind of looked like he hesitated before going in, and as a result, the defense was able to make the rotation. A guy as athletic as McCoy needs to be able to recognize as soon as that bump happens, he's got to make a beeline for the basket, because a lot of the time he could be getting an alley-oop dunk, let alone forget just the inbound, the bounce pass as he misses that second shot there. Just something I think he's going to need to look for in the tape when he comes home tonight watching this game.
For my money, I mean, he's a Power 5 player. He's one of the top 3 or 4 players I've seen in the OSBA, and absolute dominant big man. I love his game.
Here's a guy I love to watch. He's got to get that a little bit of a sweeter touch.
Burkett muscling his way underneath the basket, couldn't get the finish. 1 minute to go in the half. Vernon.
There he is, knocking it away. And Burkett, funny story about him. I was actually talking to Carmelo of OBA, and they had an open tryout up north. Can't remember exactly what city it was, because obviously he is out of Thunder Bay. But all they see is one minute. This big lurching 6'10" guy comes in and just starts absolutely dominating on the backboard, throwing it down, knocking down shots. And that's more or less how he was discovered and brought onto this Lincoln Prep team this year. Very, very talented big man, and it'll be interesting to see how he develops moving forward.
Matt Grace with a big 3, make it 45-37. And Sagal with the response. Tyler Sagal has been on fire in the first half.
He can do no wrong right now.
Vernon, 20 seconds to go in the half. He's got Grace. Grace had an opportunity there. That guy in the air, if he had leaned into him, he could have got himself 3 foul shots. Instead, he's going to get himself 2 foul shots. But the 3 would have been a little bit nicer.
And Grace puts the ball on the floor, tries to get doesn't get the friendly roll on the mid-range jumper there. But once again, this is just a testament. 2 very athletic teams going at each other. Grace with the second chance opportunity, and this is why you don't leave your feet. If you're Skenjera, you've got to make sure that you're keeping a level head in front of him and not leaping into the air. It's too much of a gamble on a team that can move the ball as well as TRC Academy.
So this has been the fastest first half I've ever done this season. It's just flown by. It was 10.4 seconds to go. TRC with a 5-point lead. Make that 6 as Grace hits the second.
Nice pass there. Oh, gets it knocked loose.
Well, Vernon will have the last chance here for TRC. Lovely spin move. Nice finish from Antoine Vernon. And hits that one off the roof.
I hits it every time, honestly. You have to almost throw it on a line.
So at the half, TRC opens up their largest lead of the game. It's 48-40. Great first half of basketball. I'm Chris McKee, joined by Ryan Greco. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Start of the second half. TRC with a 48-40 lead. I'm Chris McKee, joined by Ryan Greco in the booth.
Fantastic game so far. Two very talented teams going at it here. Dion Edgem, nice little step back jumper. Great way for him to start the game.
So we're in the booth. We're on live. Rosebush to Noten. Largest lead of the game is at 10. Now here's a point when, they could get away from Lincoln Prep. And there's a turnover. Again, it's not what they needed. No,
definitely not. This is one of those kind of situations here where Lincoln Prep, just after that turnover, you've got to come back and make sure you're making a stop on this one. Otherwise, you could be in for yourself for a very long third quarter. This is where some of these games are either made or broken.
Vernon slashes toward the basket. Lovely finish, Antoine Vernon.
Antoine Vernon once again getting it done. And you're really starting to see him kind of get into his groove, working with the offense here. Just one of those guys, he knows when his team needs him to score, when he needs him to step up.
Tafari Sims into Rosebush. Turnaround jump shot. Nice finish. Lincoln Rosebush.
Very clean. You got to love it. Whenever you see a guy able to just set himself up properly, stay square to the basket and knock down the shot. And there's some defense too, but Edgem's on the floor.
He banged his head hard off the ground. He's looking for a foul, but it wasn't. He just kind of the way he came down.
Yeah. No, it was just one of those situations where two bodies collided. There was no malintent. No malicious intent, excuse me. Sorry. I'm making up words now, apparently.
McCoy.
We tend to do that sometimes in the commentary game.
Yeah. Who's the worst at that, would you say? I mean, John Gruden is probably, he makes up words that don't even exist.
I mean, John Madden at one point, he was the best at sound effects, though.
Yeah.
He'd go, whoop, whack.
One of my favorite broadcasters of all time is McCoy. Hits the second. Keith Jackson, the famous college football broadcaster, passed away last week. God rest his soul. One of my all-time favorites.
A real magic man behind the mic.
Sagal.
Ooh.
Lovely step back. And he's fouled. He's saying he hit him in the head, not his hands.
And I think he has a case there. When you look at how far back Sagal had to lean and then how he landed, I'm sure Levniak is no fan of it, just saying, the shot was already well off. It didn't affect the release. I'm sure that's his argument to the referee here. But the ref's saying, that's beside the point, the risk of injury whenever you kind of are all over a guy like that when he's trying to shoot the ball.
Sagal, another guy I've come away with really impressed with this evening.
Well, him and Noten this is the best I've seen the both of them play, period. They're just on right now.
Even defensively, he's quick. He's long enough to hang with guys. What do they have him? They got him a 6'5", And here's Anderson racing down. He's got McCoy, though.
Oh, wow, what a finish that was. How impressive was that?
Even with Adon McCoy's big hand in his face, still was able to finish.
That is the best shot blocker in the OSBA. Now you got me saying OCAA.
Sorry, yeah. We were talking about it at the half and stuff.
Yeah,
and there's Edgem with the finish.
But I was just going to say, that is the best shot blocker in the OSBA. And excellent decision by Anderson, just kind of sucking him in and able to finish under the body. Takes the contact. My goodness. Lincoln Prep. They're down by 9, but we're seeing some real impressive play from them right now.
Vernon brings the ball up. McCoy working it around.
Nice.
McCoy. And his own putback.
You cannot allow, if you're Lincoln Prep, that look. I mean, everyone was just kind of standing there watching McCoy receive that pass. There's got to be some active hands in that passing lane to deflect that ball away.
Noten for 3, looking for the foul. He wanted 4. Exactly what Lincoln Prep needed right at that moment was a big 3. Levniak drives to Grace. Edgem wants it, though.
You see Edgem leaning back a little bit on that shot. The release was a little high, thus a short miss.
That's up and down. It's got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
So McCoy Getting into it a little bit with Sagal there. It's a nice three from Edgem. We haven't talked.
I'm going to be honest here, Chris. That's a warning. Like you got to warn the guys here. You can't allow them to start getting scrappy like this and then just act surprised when the shoving and the fighting starts. You've got to let guys know early. Hey, that stuff's not going to be tolerated.
Dion Edgem with a lovely putback, muscled his way in there. Great to see. Edgem, of course, the younger brother of Melvin Edgem.
That's right. A whole family of ballers.
Yeah. How many? Was there three?
Yeah, there's three of them.
Who am I missing?
I don't know, but there's also the Wraith and Mays. There's another Ball family.
Yeah.
The Ennises.
The Robertsons. I just did Cassius Robertson's brother's game last week.
The Nembards.
Yeah, Ryan Nemhart did his game last week. Yeah.
You see Coach Knight, you can hear him from here screaming for defense, and he's absolutely right. If we had the replays here, you could see that, if you're listening to this broadcast and you got a few seconds, go back to about 7:20 in the third quarter here, where literally three purple shirts just watched Vernon have a nice little dime pass inside to McCoy, who was able to go right to the basket, not only miss, he misses his layup, gets it back, and then finishes, while there's three purple shirts around him. And, Coach Knight, he's got a very good reason to be upset right now, because you cannot do that against the best team in the OSBA and expect to come away with even a dignified finish, let alone a win.
Burkett did a good job of being physical with McCoy early in the first quarter.
We'll see if that matchup continues now and see if he can kind of maybe even get under his skin a little bit. We'll see.
Well, there's Burkett. Take it to the hoop, big man. He's fouled. It looks like he just lost a handle on it.
He did, and I don't think he realized how wide open he was. Yeah. You could see how big his eyes got from up here. Yeah. He literally just went, wait, what?
Yeah. I was waiting for him. We can take it to the hoop, big man.
Where is everyone? Yeah. Defense late on the rotation there. Ends up being a foul on Grace, I believe.
Can't get the first one to go.
So a good foul by Grace. That would have been a sure slam dunk.
Yeah. Burkett is a big guy. Guy this big's got to work on his free throws as he misses both.
Yeah, you see there, not a lot of flick in the wrist on that one. You can kind of see he's more kind of aim it than trying to just shoot it.
Levniak.
We got the zone defense now, 2-3 zone here for Lincoln Prep. Oh, perfect. Hold on. There we go.
Everything locked like a 2-3 zone, right?
There's McCoy again, but it's going to be goaltending. I don't know about that one, Chris.
For my money, I'll give that one to the ref. It looked like it was on its way down.
Usually I'm not the one to usually disagree with the referees, but
I am.
I know. That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. There's a little role reversal there.
Have they put that basket on the scoreboard yet?
Yes, they have. Yeah, 51.
Okay.
Because it was 49.
All right. Okay.
And now we got the 2-2-1 press. Easily broken.
Edgem. And there's Burkett getting in the way.
That's a foul.
Yeah.
Burkett, although in that situation there, if you're Burkett, yes, I understand that Edgem, he's got the quickness advantage there on that one-on-one matchup. But if you're seeing that he's already kind of committing to go up, all you have to do at this point is just put your hands up. That's a tough shot for Edgem to try and go over the much bigger Burkett.
Edgem, I describe him as like a really slippery player.
Yeah.
He just kind of manages to work his way into things. He's not the greatest athlete in the world. He's just got great basketball IQ. And he's just sort of slippery, and
he's a tweener, right?
Yeah.
There's a guy that's a lot like him in the NBL that I use what's the word? I use the comparison all the time is Shaquille Keith out of I believe right now he's playing for the Cape Breton Highlanders. The last time we saw him in the NBL, I actually don't believe he's in the league anymore. He's off in Asia, but exactly same type of player. Oddly enough, Brampton kid, 6'5", same type of body type, but just deceptively quick. Knows how to use his body against smaller defenders, knows how to use his quickness against bigger defenders, and that's exactly the type of player that Dion Edgem is as well.
Sagal gets called with another travel. It's twice in about a minute and a half. You can see he plays with emotion, Sagal. He's got to calm down, keep himself a little bit in check here. He's having himself a great evening. He's letting it sort of slide off the rails a little bit here in the third quarter.
And you can see Francolini's almost sealed him out here.
Vernon, Antoine Vernon, nothing but net.
One thing that you got to love about Vernon is that this is a guy that doesn't take a lot of shots per se compared to most of his counterparts on his team. But he just seems to, he's a microwave. He can just knock down those shots when he needs to.
Vinny the Microwave Johnson, one of my favorites for the old Detroit Piston bad boys. Sago misses on that. 3 hits off the top of the backboard.
Great closeout. And you know what, though? This is something that I've noticed now. Every time Francolini's been the one to close out on Sagal, he's missed these shots. So it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues. Francolini doing a great job closing out.
Largest lead of the game. He took about 7 steps.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, lost his balance there. All he had to do was a little behind the back to Nava, and he would have been fine. But you can see he's not necessarily used to being in that position where he's kind of up top. Usually he's one of those guys that'll receive it up top and then go for the shot or go for the basket, but not usually running plays.
I find his Red Sox distracting.
I love him. I love it.
Sims has that knocked away by McCoy. Great defense. Vernon, heat check. Why not? Antoine Vernon. Raining threes.
And the don't look now, but TRC Academy could be running away with it here.
Largest lead of the game at 16.
Now, you can tell right off the lean. Noten leaning, kind of leaning forward on that shot. You can see he's getting a little tired.
Vernon, why not? Oh, that would have set the place into an eruption.
That would have been a necessary timeout.
Yeah,
absolutely. As both guys going back and forth, but I'm not going to lie. I think at this point you should probably get Noten off the floor and get a bit of a rest here. Maybe let Primo run some of the offense because he's played every minute so far. And you can see he's starting to lean on these shots. He's breathing a little bit heavier.
Sims underneath, lovely pass to Rosebush. He's hammered by Francolini. And Rosebush will go to the line and shoot 2.
I like that. It's a good idea now. Start getting the rest of your guys involved here. You've got players that know how to score the ball, especially in Rosebush and Sims. Sims at one point last year, he was the leading scorer on this team. He was the de facto offensive main guy. And but you know, this year, every chance I've gotten a chance to see him, he seems to have quieted down a little bit. You're not seeing him take as many those patented mid-range jumpers that he has. You know, you're seeing him kind of more settling into a kind of Dong McCoy role that he was doing last year, which was a lot of rebounds, a lot of physical defense. You know, of course, you love seeing that, but he's got to get his offensive game going here for Lincoln.
Rosebush hits them both.
Speaking of Lincoln,
6'10", class of 2018 out of Guelph, Ontario.
And if I were them, get him some open looks here at the three-point line. See if he can shoot their way back into this.
Nava missed. TRC's got their second unit out there. DeVero to Nava. He can't buy a basket right now. Rebound Rosebush.
You can see Nava there. When he released it, you could see his hand was kind of tilted a little bit to the right there, hence that miss right as he was finishing on the flick of the wrist. So no doubt, though, he'll make that adjustment for his next shot.
So Will Bazook seeing his first action, number 3 in the third quarter, as Noten slashes toward the basket, can't get it to go. Nava comes back with the rebound. DeVero, wide open look, why not? Too strong, rebound Primo. Noten looking for somebody. Nobody racing up the floor in purple. He takes it himself, and how that's a foul, I'm not sure, but Noten will take it.
Yeah, you see Noten there switching hands at the last moment. You're kind of expecting him to kind of go with his left there. It seemed like he had a bit of a better angle, but brings it back over top the defender, and the referee says there's enough contact for there to be a foul.
Lorenzo Downey called with the foul. Downey, class of 2020 out of Nova Scotia. East Coaster. While he's taking a free throw, I'll take the time to plug my article that's coming out tomorrow on Mid-Major Madness. It's the top 15 Canadians playing for mid-major schools in the NCAA. Look for that tomorrow. It'll be on my Twitter at Mr. McKee, or check out SB Nation's Mid-Major Madness. Made me think I've got one East Coast guy on the list. A lot of OSBA grads. Nava for Downey.
Yeah, nice. Oh, good defense there by Sims.
Safari Sims, lovely. What's the call?
See Sims checking his hand there. Might have just slapped the backboard a little too hard on that one. But that's what they need.
Occupational hazard, yeah.
Yep. But that's exactly what Lincoln needs, though. They need him to start stepping up a little bit. And let's see if he gets a look on the shot at the other end here.
You know, we talked about they were shooting the lights out in the first half, cooled off in the second half. But they got to keep taking those shots. As Primo takes one, misses.
That's a bad shot. That's a bad shot. He had the angle to attack the basket there. Instead, he settles for a tough fadeaway mid-range jumper.
Francolini, and there it is.
That's a hot zone for him, though. If you spent enough time watching TRC Academy, you know that that's one of his favorite spots in transition to set up shop in. And true to form, knocks it down with ease.
16-point lead, largest of the game. 1:54 to go in the third quarter. Lincoln Prep bleeding. Sagal misses that long three.
Once again, I'm not a fan of that shot. Sagal, as good of a shooter as he is and as good as he's feeling it, you're already kind of setting up. The defense kind of already knows what's happening. You already have your man set up in the block trying to fight for position. You got to reward the big man every now and then and let him get that work in. Sims is going to be the key for them to get going to bring them back in this game. Everybody else is looking tired.
Francolini, heat check. Adam Francolini from way downtown.
That's another reason why. You got to get guaranteed points, trips to the line, guys in foul trouble. You can't just keep walking up the floor and hoping for the best by taking a random three. There's another off-balance shot, and it's missed again. Lincoln Prep just not getting it done right now.
Javero is down. He's hammered. It looks like Rosebush might be called with it.
Now, if you're Josh Primo, we know, understand, he's a young point guard. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a bright future ahead of him. In these moments, though, he's got to make sure, this is going to be one of his responsibilities getting older with this organization, is getting his other guys going. And that's not something that we've seen so far. With Josh Noten off, taking his first rest of the entire game, they're going to need Primo to really step up here and lead the offense and get guys involved.
It's got to be disheartening for Lincoln Prep. You know, the second unit comes on, and this is their opportunity to get back into the game, and then Francolini's shooting the lights out. They can't miss. DeVero's playing well. You just can't buy a basket.
A lot of that, though, has to do with their schemes. It has to do with what shots are they taking? What decisions are they making with the ball, right? And so far, now we got Anderson running the point guard. We'll see what he can bring to the table.
Looks like they're going to try and free up Primo for a shot. Or Sagal. It's a long two. His foot was on the line. Lincoln Rosebush.
Good shot by Rosebush, but once again, you got to know where you are. Set your feet up behind the arc. Knock that shot down. You know you can. Great
Nava explodes to the basket underneath off the glass. Nice finish.
That's just pretty right there by Nava.
Anderson. He's got Primo. There's a fight going on the floor. Sagal took a swing at Nava. Nava's got to back off.
I'm sorry, but I'm telling you right now. And now he's shoving a referee. Listen, it happened right in front of the Lincoln Prep bench. Nava literally shoved him with his forearm right into the chest of Sagal, right in front of the referee. I'm not seeing anything. No warnings, no talks, no blowing the whistle, no nothing. They're just letting these guys go at each other. And eventually, someone's going to get hurt. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, but we've seen it 2 games in a row now where nobody's getting a warning, nobody's getting a technical. Everyone's just standing there letting these guys go after each other. And eventually, at some point, if someone throws a punch, I don't know how this is going to go down.
So Nava's just been teed up, but is he been ejected or is he still in the game?
There you go. Still in the game.
Yeah.
Shove a referee, it doesn't matter. And this is no shot at Nava. Nava's a very good player. This is more about the officials needing to make sure they're taking control of this game and not letting tempers and emotions run too high. Because both of these teams are very well-respected teams. They work hard, they play hard, and sometimes the competitiveness gets a little bit too much.
It was going on for a while down there. Sagal and Nava, they were wrestling on the ground for a bit.
Exactly. We saw this in the last game. Sick of seeing it in this one.
Anderson guarded by DeVero. And they're back at it again. Sagal and Nava. Rosebush off the glass.
Excellent
nice finish. Lincoln Rosebush.
That was a pretty finish by Rosebush. And once again, you got to feed the bigs. Let them get their touches. Let them get their finishes at the rim. They will lead you to the promised land. But now you got to defend the perimeter.
7 seconds to go. And there's a travel on Ben Chauveler. turnover with 6.1 to go. Plenty of time for Lincoln Prep to set up a good shot. Look for Sagal or Primo to take this last shot. Primo drives to the basket, and that's out of bounds. Shot's not going to count. Missed opportunities, the story of the third quarter for Lincoln Prep, as TRC opens up a sizable lead at 76-59 heading into the fourth.
That's one thing about this OSBA, though, Chris, is that no lead is really insurmountable, and just one good run away, Lincoln Prep has a chance of still making this a game at this point. But once again, poor decisions of about midway through that third quarter offensively. Quick shots early in the shot clock, off-balance shots that weren't necessary, and simply just not getting back on defense in transition and not getting a hand up and really defending that three-point line. At some point, something's got to give. You're not going to be able to knock down as many shots as you can. You've got a very impressive front court in Matt Grace, Adong McCoy, and also number 24, Liam Courtney. A lot of long arms there that can get those offensive boards. So you got to make sure you're playing just as physical on defense and staying focused on offense. And for a good 5 minutes there, unfortunately, Lincoln Prep was left on the outside looking in.
It was 3 or 4 possessions in a row that you mentioned, just bad shot after bad shot, and they just couldn't stop the bleeding. They were hemorrhaging at that point. Settled down a little bit there for a little bit stretch just before the end of the third quarter. So, they're going to have to come out here. They're going to keep shooting. Sagal, Anderson, Primo, these guys were lighting it up in the first and second quarter. Ice cold in the third, but don't lose the faith. Keep shooting the ball.
Absolutely.
$76-59. TRC in the lead. Number 1 team in the OSBA, showing why in the third quarter. Here we go. Blake Anderson, guarded by DeVero. That second unit still on the floor for TRC. They've been just as good as the first.
Excellent find. What a find there by Anderson to Rosebush. Rosebush, excellent job sealing out his man. Catches with the left hand. Nice smooth finish at the rim. That's some good, clean basketball there.
Textbook basketball. Nice play drawn up by the coach. Great finish. How's that not a travel? Finally, I was going to say.
I think he got him on that last step there.
He was running like Forrest Gump on that and finally got called.
That was number 33, Ben Chevalier. Cheveller. I'm sorry at home, people listening, if we screwed up his name there. Sorry. Cheveller. Here's Rosebush to Primo. Primo now gets by his defender. Up and in. He's got to finish that.
A little too cute from Primo. Went more for style instead of substance.
And you just got to get a little bit higher, though. If you're going to make that play, be confident with it.
Downey. And that's back-to-back travels for TRC. So this is the opportunity that Lincoln needed. 2 consecutive turnovers.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Chris.
Playing a little sloppy basketball for the start of the fourth, and now Josh Noten has had a good breather. He's had a good long stretch. He should be back out most likely for the remainder of the game.
Absolutely. They need him. They need him running this offense at this point. And they're going to need a whole lot of stops, too.
Noten, guarded by DeVero.
I would ISO this.
Long 3 from Noten. There it is, Josh Noten with a response. Lincoln Prep showing signs of life.
Josh Noten letting the Rise Prep players know about it, who were shouting at him on the sidelines there. Of course, a lot of these guys know each other, come from relatively the same neighborhoods. They've all grew up playing together. As there's a foul. This is a small community up here in Toronto, this basketball community.
No doubt.
And I'm sure, and much to the delight of the Rise Prep players, though, they were laughing and jawing right back.
There was a site that I was writing for, I won't name it, and I tried to write a little bit more about Basketball Canada and this and that, and they were like, no. And I said, well, you got to understand, it's all one community. And it's an American-based site, and they were like, we don't care. I'm like, no, it's all one. You don't understand. And they were like, we don't want you writing about Team Canada and Team Ontario. And I said, okay, fine. So they don't. It's hard to understand what that is from an outsider.
It is. And at the end of the day, there's just, if it's not American, they don't care. But I mean, that's just kind of how it works.
I was writing about the Raptors, but they didn't want anything to do with Canada basketball.
I see.
Unless there was like a former Raptor or something involved.
Yeah. No, they don't know what they're missing.
78-64, 8:20 to go in the ball game. Noten, Rosebush for 3, short, rebound Sims. He stepped out of the bounds, a turnover, TRC ball.
See, Rosebush, you got to open, clean look there, but although you can't be too upset with that look. I mean, you're getting the looks now. Now it's just a matter of knocking down the shots and getting back on defense. And, you know, to their credit, they found a way to kind of stop the bleeding here.
Vernon, guarded closely, accelerates to Edgem. Edgem loses a handle on it. And then a lovely floater from Dion Edgem.
That's a great decision there, recognizing he's got the smaller defender on him, going to use the body to create the space, rises right over top. Excellent acceleration on that jump there to finish the shot.
Noten for a long 3. Too strong. The Edgem was just too slippery on that last play. Slid it around there. It's great. Love his game.
You can see right now as there was Cato fighting for the ball. It's just, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the third quarter, though, Chris. I mean, early in the shot clock, do you really need to take that shot behind 3 guys? I mean, it's, you know, you don't necessarily need to just keep jacking up threes for 7 minutes to get back in this game. You can do it. And there's a huge mismatch.
McCoy can't get the roll. McCoy's been quiet other than 1 or 2 big, you know,
dunks or blocks.
Dunks or blocks. He's been fairly quiet. Hasn't had to be dominant.
Nope.
I say, you know, we watched him up at AI a couple weeks ago. He had to be dominant. They had a short bench.
Yep.
A couple guys injured, not there. And so he played pretty much the whole game, him and Vernon, and was absolutely dominant because he had to be. Vernon content with working the shot clock down. Long 3, short on that.
That's a killer.
Grace with the rebound. Vernon wisely resets.
One thing I love about FIBA rules, though, is that it resets to 14 instead of 24. It really forces players to keep moving and taking shots.
Matt Grace with a long 3. And there's a timeout on the floor by Lincoln Prep. 80-64, 6:54 to go. TRC in control. Yeah. 6:54 to go. Great day of basketball down in Brantford, Ontario. I made a note to myself about 3 weeks ago. I was like, go down to TRC. I was just going to come watch a game and come check out the facilities and interview a few players and that. So it was great to get the opportunity to do an OSBA game here. 2 of them.
Absolutely. Get a chance to, you know, like I said at the beginning of our broadcast in the first game, I mean, every time I come here, there always seems to be some new addition to the facility. This time around, there's a wall now that's separating the training facilities from the actual court here, but it's still an open concept. So you can hear all the sounds and sights and smells of the gym, while at the same time you get a little bit of privacy in the weight room, which is something that's really nice. They've got a brand new lounge right behind us that's only about a year old.
Yeah, I see people up there behind us banging on the glass earlier.
They're making some noise in there.
The VIPs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you've got a brand new decal here. Last year we didn't have the whole wolf pack on the sidelines and the R in the middle and all that. They've really done an amazing job at making this place look absolutely beautiful. It's one of the best places to watch a game in the OSBA, without a doubt.
A great atmosphere. Loving it so far. Hey, I'd send my kid here.
Absolutely.
Sagal, rainbow 3. Almost hit the roof.
Sagal having himself a day. They're going to need a whole lot more of that, though. You just don't want to see him force those shots. That wasn't a forced shot. That was caught in rhythm. He's got time. He gets the open look. There's Levniak. And this is what I talked about before. Levniak, a guy who originally was a shooter, is starting in the OSBA. Now just finds those nifty ways to get to the basket. Extremely quick off the dribble. Great first step.
You know, we talked about Primo and how young he looks. Levniak looks about 27 years old. He's got the beard on him. He looks like a grizzled NBA veteran.
Literally.
Or a guy that's played in Europe for 6 years.
Yep. He literally looks like he could be like Jose Calderon's cousin right now.
Yeah. Edgem finds Vernon. Shot clock winding down to 5. Vernon. Little too cute with it.
Yeah, I would have went up to the basket there. I mean, but once again, there's the help defense by Noten, recognizing, okay, Now he knows he's gonna get by the original defender. What he has to do now is make sure he's jumping and staying kind of in that little sweet spot between the rim and the passing lane, keeping himself as wide as possible, and as a result, gets a nice little crack at the ball there, and as a result, Vernon now has to redo.
Levniak with a baseline jumper, nice finish.
That's hours in the gym right there. You can tell he practices that shot. Just catch, shoot, doesn't even think about it.
5:36 to go in the ball game. 19-point lead for TRC. If there's ever a time to make a move, now's as good as ever. Noten trying to direct traffic. No one listening. No one in purple moving. So Noten finally throws up a bomb, and it goes down.
Josh Noten, I'm loving his form right now. Even the long shots like that, he's just excellent form, finishing with the arm extended. A good flick of the wrist. He's getting great spin off the ball here. This is his best shooting performance I've ever seen.
Levniak showing his bag of tricks.
He's so tough to stop. When he gets going, Chris, and he's got an opportunity and he sees daylight, he does not hesitate. He's got such a great nose for the rim in that sense.
It's funny. He's very deceptive as a player. You know, if we showed up and they threw all these 20 kids out there and said, pick your kids, you know, he wouldn't be at the top of my list, but the kid's a heck of a player.
Yep. He's been a 2-year starter now. And there's Sagal trying to make himself famous, going after McCoy at the rim there. But McCoy's saying none of that.
I was waiting for the Mutombo finger wag from McCoy.
I was, that brings me back to there was a rookie. I'm trying to remember exactly who it was, and we got a timeout here, so we have a chance to tell a story here real quick. So it's an NBA game that I was at, and I was watching the Warriors, and it was the Warriors, and they were going up against a rookie. I'm trying to remember who it was for the life of me. I think it was somebody either on the Celtics or the Lakers, and so. He's there, and all you see is this guy go up, and he tries to dunk on Draymond Green. And Green is able to foul him and kind of push him back, and all you hear is him the entire way back going, "You'll never dunk on me. Yeah. You're never, ever going to dunk on me." He's like, "I'm never going to let you do that, ever." He's like, "I will tackle you." This guy's saying, "I'm going to tackle you."
On social media, yeah.
You're never going to dunk on me, rookie, ever. And that literally is just, I would not have been surprised at all if Don McCoy had been mouthing those words, because he's not a big expressive guy, right? Like
very quiet.
He's very content, very controlled, and I could just see him just going, "You're never going to dunk on me, ever, never."
McCoy, really nice young man. I had the chance to speak with him for a little bit before the game. Bright future ahead of him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Also, long chat with Dion Edgem. You know, I said to him, I said, "Hey, you got a future in broadcasting." He's got the personality.
Oh, definitely.
Hey, he knows the game.
He does.
Real personable young guy.
It's honestly, the future's bright for both of those young men, regardless of what they do or whatever level they play at after this and after college. I mean, both of them, they probably have the skills, if they keep going the way they're going, to get a paycheck somewhere in the world playing basketball. And honestly, but when you have a good attitude about it, when you have a good personality, when you have a good mindset towards the game, the way that those two young men do, the sky's the limit for guys like that.
Grace looking for space. Vernon. Dish inside to McCoy, and he loses the handle on it.
Gotta love that
Possession
hustle.
arrow favors Lincoln Prep.
And they earned that. They earned every second of that possession. And still down by 16. And that could be a big deal if they go on a run here. It's Primo, and I've been very critical of Primo in this game, but an excellent effort on the defensive end there, diving for the ball, fighting off the much bigger Edgem and McCoy for that. And give credit where credit is due. He's the reason why Lincoln Prep has the ball right now.
Sagal pulls up. Ugly shot. Nowhere near.
Oh,
and
wow.
there it is, Levniak. He tried to... He tried to dunk.
He tried. He can dunk. I've seen him dunk. He was dunking in the warm-ups. I don't know what happened there. And that's got to be kick ball. Yeah, there you go. And Levniak. We've seen him dunk. I don't know what happened there.
Well, thankfully, the TSN isn't here to make the misplays of the month, because Levniak would be on it. Something going on with some of the Rise players down there in Sagal.
Yep,
I think he fell into them.
Yep. This is not an easy place to play, that is for sure.
Great dish. Cato to Hart. And Cato with the putback.
Yeah, Cato getting the ball inside there to Hart. I don't think Hart was expecting it. You could see he was kind of surprised when he got it.
Edgem fighting for his rebound. Possession arrow now favors TRC.
Edgem coming down with that. Once again, you know, it costs you every time you don't box out. Every time you kind of let a loose ball hit the ground when you're Lincoln Prep, it usually favors TRC Academy because they just have, you know, this specific lineup we're looking at. And there's Levniak. I mean, Levniak, this guy's a closer. He was relatively quiet for the entire game. I think he's got about 8 of his 10 points, 8 of his 11 points are in this fourth quarter right now.
I mean, that's the sign of a number one team. You know, McCoy's been quiet today. Matt Gray started off well, but it's different guys. You know, you shut down McCoy, great. Well, then Vernon hits up and hits 2 threes in a row.
Yep.
Then Levniak catches fire. And it's just really disheartening. You know, it can really break another team. And you can see Lincoln Prep looking broken.
You can't forget.
They just don't know who to stop.
Absolutely. And you can't forget Francolini either in that big initial
right,
run.
Yeah.
2 back-to-back threes.
Vernon with a steal. Oh, lovely. Little street ball there from Vernon. And Francolini missed that one.
You can see just the importance of making sure you're closing out, staying in front of your man. Francolini leaning back even though he did not have to at all. But it just plays. And there's Noten.
Took on McCoy. Didn't want to dunk over him. Wisely went off the glass.
Well, despite what the final score may be in this game, Chris, I must say I don't think I've ever seen Josh Noten have a better offensive game than what I saw today. Just consistently knocking down shots 3, 4, 5 feet outside the three-point line, finishing with contact in the rim. It doesn't even stare at the referees after the contact. Doesn't care. Just gets up, gets back on defense. So despite the fact that it's looking like Lincoln Prep might be licked in this one, I don't think a couple of guys on this Lincoln Prep Huskies team don't have anything to be ashamed about, especially guys like Sagal as well, who was unconscious for most of this game from behind the arc. And I think that's kind of what makes it all the more frustrating for these guys when they're getting chippy like that because they know they've been playing relatively well. It's just literally been like this, the one lapse in judgment or one lapse in energy in these games. And, you know, that's kind of been their MO throughout this year so far for Lincoln Prep.
You know, they've played really well. Other than a stretch of about 3 or 4 minutes in that third quarter, they played an excellent game.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's just when you're playing against a team this good, you can't have those stretches.
No, not at all. They will take advantage. And this is exactly what they've done. Is we've got number 12 on the floor here, Sammy Jahan. There's another guy, actually. Sammy didn't get many minutes in this game, but he's another one who's had some really good games.
Vernon. And there's McCoy fighting his way underneath. And he'll go to the line and shoot 2.
When you give McCoy that much time under the rim, it's going to be. And we finally have a technical foul. It's on Hart.
He looks pretty worked up.
Yep. But there's, as I was just saying, though, analysis-wise, McCoy, when you're giving McCoy that much space and time under the basket like that, it's either a basket or a foul every single time. There isn't going to be another way around it.
So Milkovich comes in for Hart. Francolini, 6'6", class of 2019. Timeout on the floor.
It's so strange, Chris. I don't think I've ever seen a team play as well as Lincoln Prep has and be down by 18.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like they didn't really have any bad moments. They just had that one little lull for about 3 minutes in the third quarter, and that was the game. Because other than that, I think other than being outscored in that moment, this game has pretty much been back and forth and pretty even.
You know, I did the AI versus King's Christian a couple weeks ago up in Orangeville, and King's Christian had themselves an amazing afternoon. You know, they played with about 7 guys and hung in there, but it was, I've never seen a team play so well and lose. It was just a better team on the other end of the floor.
Yeah, King's Christian, they're in another realm there where it's just so frustrating. They try and find ways to finish, and there's Cato, nice spin move, up and in, gets the foul.
Courtney hammers him, and his shoe comes off.
Cato. We're going to talk about guys with quiet nights. I mean, Cato's another one of them.
I thought we were going to talk about Cato Kalin for a second when he went in. O.J. Simpson's guy.
Gosh.
What year were you born in?
I love you, Chris.
Yeah.
Don't. I'm not divulging
I'll
that
talk
information.
O.J. Simpson all day long.
I am not divulging that information. I'll put it this way: I was alive when O.J. Simpson thing was going on.
Okay.
I was alive. I was slightly aware. I was slightly aware of it.
I'll tell you one of the things. The next book, one of the books I want to work on is about the O.J. Simpson. That trial and the effect of it on media, and how much media has changed because of that O.J. Simpson trial and how things are covered.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's on the agenda for 2018. Yeah.
As Courtney gets the finish there. 96-77. It's looking like nice shot there by Primo, though.
Long two. Buck 38 to go.
That's going to be his next step there, trying to find ways to not take those off-balance shots when they need real baskets. And Francolini gets it right back at him.
Right in his face.
Yeah, when you've got a guy that's that much smaller than you, I don't know if I would take that shot, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Cato
looks like
ugly
he tripped
pass.
there. Yeah, it looked like he tripped there on who is that? That was who's playing defense on him there, number 13, Downey.
Yeah.
It looked like he kind of tripped over himself, like maybe his knee kind of got caught. There, 1:10 to go, 19-point game. So Lincoln Prep now falls to 4-8, but they don't change anything in the standings for them. They still have a couple games in hand over some of the guys that they're in front of.
That was too easy from Francolini.
Yep. And then we've got, of course, TRC Academy increasing their regular season total to 12-0 in OSBA standings. But, one thing, you got a chance here with 56 seconds left, Chris. One of the things that when we were talking to McCoy and Edgem, one of the big things that they're really trying to hope to continue doing in 2018, one of their big goals for this program is to start getting some high-profile wins in the States. They were talking about how they were playing Mount Zion, Tracy McGrady's old high school, lost a game by 1 there. They seemed extremely frustrated about that one when they were talking about it. So really, you can imagine that, of course, the OSBA, this is the ultimate goal for these teams in this league. But anytime that you're able to put up good numbers and good games against some of the best talent in the United States, that's really where the heavy recruiting takes place. That's where the real, the real future is unfolded for a lot of these players. And I'm sure that, moving forward in 2018, that's going to be a major goal for them, just having more favorable appearances in those big showcases down in the States.
One thing I think they need to have to learn is how to travel. I've spent many years, working in music. I've been on the road, traveled all over Canada and the U.S.
We mean traveling, not like basketball travel.
Yeah, and you got to learn how to prepare yourself, get your rest in when you need it, and eating right and stuff like that, not being too amped, burning your energy throughout the day. It's a real... It only comes with experience, and it's hard for 16, 17, 18-year-old kids to figure that out.
Well, especially if it's for some of these guys, it's the first time they're ever traveling anywhere, right? So it's a huge deal for a lot of these guys. And even just some of the places they're visiting, they would never visit if it wasn't for basketball. Yeah,
that 2 hours on the court almost becomes incidental to everything else that's going on.
There's a nice finish there. And how about that finish under the basket? We got 25 seconds remaining. Cheveller doing some work there. There's a shot.
Will Bazook.
Bazook from long range.
We need sound effects when he's on. Every time, if he drops one. DeVero running out the clock.
Yep. There's a very solid win. TRC Academy is going to go home happy. Lincoln Prep, same as we said before with Ridley College in the earlier game. This is going to be a game where they're going to have a lot of good things and a lot of difficult things to talk about on the tape. And they're going to need, if I know Coach Knight, he's going to be obsessing over that third quarter on the game tape and really just wondering, okay, what do we need to do in these situations? How do we make sure that our guys are staying focused and knocking down the necessary shots and getting each other involved in moments that are so crucial like that, especially when you consider a team like TRC Academy who, from start to finish, it was always one guy goes down, another guy steps up and knocks down a big shot. Constant ball movement in and out. Guys finishing on their transition breaks, knocking down their free throws, disciplined defense. These are all the things that TRC Academy was doing extremely well from start to finish in this game. And Lincoln Prep did as well, Chris. They did. It was just that one lapse that you saw in the third quarter for about 3 to 4 minutes where some bad decisions and some lazy defense at the end there kind of really just cost them, and TRC never looked back.
Well, TRC was convincing in the second half. End up coming out with a 20-point win, 102-82. So from the Rise Center in Brantford, Ontario, I'm Chris McKee with Ryan Greco. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again.